Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Welcome to another video. If there are two things I love in this life, it is classic rock and retro video games. Two of the things, I should say. Big fan of both, and it is so awesome when these worlds collide. Now I'm going to play a clip from the Professor of Rock because he talks about this very thing. Classic rock blending with retro video games. In particular, the Logical song, this staple of classic rock radio by Supertramp. The Logical song is an amazing song with all kinds of interesting sound effects, including sound effects from the 1977 handheld game, Mattel Football. You know, the little handheld game with the LED lights, just the players are represented as little red horizontal blips. And the game came out in 1977 when I was 10 years old, and I did get it, and I absolutely loved it. I'm going to talk, after this clip I play you guys, where you get a little history behind this. I'm going to show you guys my handheld collection of sports games and talk a little bit more about Mattel Football from 1977. But watch this clip from the Professor of Rock. Great guy, knows a ton about rock and roll. He's a big video game fan too, so check it out.
Helliwell became the unplanned culprit behind the bleeping goal sound from an electronic Mattel football game that he and Rick Davies loved to play between takes. Right after Hodgson sings the digital, there's that high-pitched trilling sound, which many 70s and 80s kids will remember well. Actually, the Mattel Football game was borrowed from English producer-engineer Richard Digby Smith after they heard him playing with it in a neighboring room at the Village Recorder. The sound actually indicates that the team has surrendered possession of the ball. You know, it's interesting how songs work, as I distinctly remember noticing this when my dad was playing. It's a copy of Breakfast in America right there. The record when I was really young. I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. He had the exact football game, and I would try to play it, but I remember recognizing the sound, and I excitedly told my dad, "That's the sound from that football game." He picked up the needle and set it back about 30 seconds, and he kept listening to it over and over again, and he said, "You know what? You're right. Wow, you really have a great ear for music. That's a gift." I remember, word for word, I was pretty excited that a grown-up, especially my own dad, would say that. It gave me some confidence. And with the guys in Supertramp, apparently Hodgson recalled that the band and production crew heard the sound of the Mattel game echoing around the studio all day long, so they decided to have a little fun with it, and they put the effect onto the recording of the Logical song. Like I said, the handheld game belonged to the engineer Smith, who was working in the other studio, who Henderson jokes, I quote, "is still waiting for his royalty check for its use," end quote.
All right, guys, there you go. The Logical song by Supertramp does indeed use sound effects from Mattel Football, and that is so cool. I remember hearing that sound, and now I'm really glad to get a little history behind that. That is awesome. Thank you, Professor of Rock, for that. You guys should definitely check out his channel. Just a really sincere guy. Really talks about the impact of music, not only on culture and society, but on our lives. Really cool. And here he dips into a little bit of gaming history. That is awesome. Now, Mattel Football from 1977 was invented by George Close and Richard Chang, according to the patent for the device, and it was programmed by Mark Lesser. It was re-released in 2000, slightly, there are a few differences, like it says Classic Football across the top there. In 2000, it was re-released, and then it was re-released on a keychain in 2001. Now, I got the original game in 1977, and my brother got Basketball in 1978, and we played them a ton on car trips, at home, in our rooms, outside, just all over the place. Love these handheld games, way before the Game Boy, and even before the Microvision, and before so many handheld games. Mattel released Auto Race in 1976, and that was the first of their handheld games, very influential game. And they came out with a bunch of different sports games, and these things were $30 each, which was a lot in the late 70s, but not so much that I couldn't get them for Christmas. I could get a couple for Christmas and still have some gifts left over. I could get one for my birthday, so I ended up with a pretty good collection of these. I had football, and then baseball, and then we got a bunch of different ones. I got some Coleco ones, and I got just a variety of handheld games. Unfortunately, I sold them all in 1989 in a garage sale. Now, the reason I remember it was 1989 is because my brother got married in 1988, and then in 1989 they had a garage sale, and he asked if I wanted to bring anything over. I could put it in his garage sale, and he would give me the money, and not even take any off the top. He would give me all the money. So like a dummy, I took all my handheld games over there. I probably had about 20 of them, including a really cool tabletop tennis game that I really miss, that I loved. And for some reason, I just thought, well, I'll just collect the consoles and the cartridges and things like that. I don't need these handheld games. And like a big dummy, the same year the Game Boy came out in 1989, I sold all my handheld game systems. What, just a big goof, and I still regret it to this day. Now, I have picked up some in over the years since that time. Now, I never pay big collector prices for these, but when I find them at garage sales or thrift stores or just find a good deal, I will get them. So I'm going to show you my current collection of handheld games. I already showed you this classic football one. I think someone got me that one at Toys R Us or something when they were re-released. And this one's really cool. Basketball 2. Wow. How cool is that? Just in beautiful condition. And it came with the manual and the box. I found this complete at Vintage Stock years ago for $8. What a steal. If they had it now, they would put it out for a lot more than that. But this was before they started pricing a lot of their stuff. This was around the same time I was getting, from Movie Trading and Vintage Stock, they would press their Sega Saturn games and Sega CD games pretty cheaply, around $3.99 for most titles. And they had a lot of stuff, around this time, NES games, they were pricing those pretty high and some other things, but they still had some of their stuff pretty cheaply. I ended up with this re-release of the baseball game from Mattel, classic baseball. You can see where it says classic baseball, and it's got a little sound button. And I do have the original. I got this one at a garage sale. You see there's no button for sound, where you can't turn the sound off unless you take it apart and unhook the sound somehow. I've never tried that. But anyway, that would have saved me trouble at school because teachers could hear the bleeps and bloops when I tried to play these at school. So I've got those Mattel ones. I don't have a Football 2. I would love to get that. Now in Football 2, which came out in '78, you could run backwards and pass, and there was a 10-yard field. And I think my brother did get that one because I originally got the original Football, and then he got Basketball, and he got Football 2. It is long gone. But it was a nice little upgrade over the original, although I have a soft spot in my heart for the original just because it was so simple, and it was the one I grew up playing from the get-go. It was the first one I had. Now, let's see. I have got Intex Football 3. So that was I found at a garage sale, with the two-player simultaneous action is pretty cool. I've got Tandy Baseball, and I've actually got the box. How cool is that? For another version of Tandy Football, Tandy Championship Football. And it even came with this nifty little instruction manual. Always cool to have that. Anyway, that's about it. I used to have around 20 of these handheld sports games, and I got a lot of fun out of them back in the day, but just at one point in '89, I decided I didn't need them anymore. And curse you, my brother, for having that garage sale. And maybe I would still might have him to this day. Just kidding, just having some fun. But anyway, guys, let me know if you've ever watched Professor of Rock before, if you're a fan. I know Metal Jesus Rocks has told me he's a big fan of the channel. He's just a great guy, really sincere, has an excellent grasp of rock and roll history, and he's a big video game fan too. And he actually has some of my gaming books, which is awesome. Great dude. So be sure and sub to his channel. And also let me know, Mattel Football, did you grow up playing it, or have you played it, for you younger viewers, have you ever played it maybe in later, in recent years? And the Logical song, when you heard that song, did you notice back in the day that it had Mattel 1977 football sound effects? Pretty darn cool. All right, guys, thank you for liking this video. If you did like it, hit that like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and I will see you guys in another video. If you're a fan of my work, you might want to consider supporting me on Patreon. For just a low fee each month, you get a lot of extra content. Another way to support the channel and my writing career, is to buy books direct from me, including the 100 Greatest Console Video Games, the Classic Home Video Game Series. It's like an encyclopedia set. And this massive bad boy, the NES Omnibus Volume 1 A through L. I will put links in the description of this video where you can buy books direct from me and where you can support me on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. If you're a fan of my work, you might want to consider supporting me on Patreon. For just a low fee each month, you get a lot of extra content. Another way to support the channel and my writing career is to buy books direct from me, including the 100 Greatest Console Video Games, the Classic Home Video Game Series. It's like an encyclopedia set. And this massive bad boy, the NES Omnibus Volume 1 A through L. I will put links in the description of this video where you can buy books direct from me and where you can support me on Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.